Hi everybody, Drake Pledger with Flintlock Operator. We're coming to you from the half-face shelter that we've been working on, and there's still one more thing we need to do to make this house a home. We need to make a fire. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to need our fire to cook a meal, to disinfect our water, and immediately we're going to use it to heat up some water to clean my rifle. So let's go ahead and get that fire started. The first thing that we're going to need to do is make sure that the area that we have our fire in is very clear of any dry debris. Now it's been raining here in Kentucky for like the last year, so it's spring in Kentucky, so it's nice, everything's nice and wet, and that looks pretty good. We've got about a 2-foot clearance on either side, and we can make sure that this fire does not light anything else on fire. The other thing that we're going to need to do is make sure that we take off at least our powder horn, because what we don't want to do is have a half pound of powder go off right on our side. So we don't want any stray sparks or flame or heat getting to our powder horn here. So we're just going to go ahead and take off both our shooting pouch and our powder horn and set it to the side. I'm just going to put it behind my knapsack right there. Now what we're going to need is the basic materials to put together this fire. One of the most common problems I see people have with fire starting is they try and go way too big, way too quickly. What we need to do is get that fire developed, and we need to start with very small material, very dry material, that's very crucial, very dry, and work our way up to bigger and bigger until we eventually can have actual fuel-sized pieces of wood in the fire. The first size of material that we're going to need is called tinder. And I went ahead and picked up this big bundle of grass from the meadow way down a ways. And this is very dry, as you can see. We've got a nice hay sound to it. And once we get the proper ember and sparks to this, this is going to go up really, really quickly. It's going to provide a quick flame. So we're going to have to work quickly once this catches on fire. And that leads us to our next size up that we're going to need. I built my camp right next to a big deadfall that fell about 2 years ago. And all this wood is very dry now. It's very usable. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and just start snapping off. And our next size up, we want it to be about pencil lead size or smaller. So we're just going to strip these small branches off. We're definitely going to want to keep those bigger pieces because we'll use those after we get our tinder bundle lit. We're just going to go through and quickly strip off these really small twigs and little pieces of wood as we go. This doesn't have to take a long time, but what we don't want to have happen is the tinder bundle go up in flames and not catch something larger, because then we'd have to start over all over again. And out here in the woods, conserving calories is critical. And we want our tinder bundle and that fire to get lit right off the bat, right on the first time. So we're going to put a good amount of effort into getting this tinder bundle to a point to where when we strike it off, it's going to go up, the wood's going to catch, and we can slowly start to add more and more wood and bigger wood. So it just so happens that there's actually a video of me in this deadfall when it was pretty recently fallen, and I'm firing off my musket. So I might have to include that here and show y'all what this used to look like back a few years ago. While I was out there getting little sticks for the tinder bundle, I went ahead and just grabbed a whole bunch of handfuls of various sizes of wood. And this wood's going to take us all the way from the tinder bundle up to some smaller types of fuel. So what I'm going to do now is sort through all this. I've got some that are like big toe thumb and big toe thick, and I've got some that are pencil lead thickness. So I'm going to go through and sort these into various sizes. And then once we have the fire lit, I'll be able to take essentially one bundle and put it on. And when that bundle is burned down, I'll take and put the other one on. And that way I can get a fire really, really quickly and very efficiently. One thing that we're looking for as we go through and sort through these is we want to hear that nice snap. If we don't hear a nice snap, then the wood is probably too green or it's too wet, and we're not going to be able to use it. Early on in the fire making stages, we really want all of our wood to be really dry because it's going to catch the best. Later on, when we have the fire better established and we have a coal bed, then we can start to use maybe some more questionable wood. But getting that coal bed and getting the fire established is very important, first and foremost, right off the bat. Now, one thing that I could be doing a little bit better, and I went ahead and did, is place all my sorted materials on my blankets back there. The ground out here is very damp, and I don't want any of that moisture to get on my tinder bundle or my other wood over here. All right, we've got our 3 distinct piles. We have here the tinder bundle pile, we have the medium pile, and over here we have the large pile. So this pile is going to be the start of our fuel. We're just going to make a little stick fire here, so we don't necessarily need a whole lot of material, because all we really want right now is just enough to get a pot of water boiling so I can clean the barrel of my gun. We're almost ready to strike that ember and get this fire going. Before we do, let's do a little bit more prep work on the tinder bundle. This stuff is so dry, we could probably get this to go without processing, but this is gonna give us a little bit of an edge. So what we're looking for is for this material to be nice and fluffy and airy. We want there to be as much surface area as possible. We want it to be as dry as possible. And now I smell like a hayride. I have a full-out fire kit over here in my knapsack, but we're going to get into my belt pouch and pull out my tinder box. It looks like I need to make some more, but I think we'll have just enough charred material in here to get us through this fire. We have our charred material in our char tin, we have our fire steel, and we have a flint. This is just a really big musket flint that I keep in my belt pouch for this specific purpose, for striking fire. Different people have different ways of doing this, but this is how I like to do it. Some people hold the charred material with one of their hands and strike it onto there. I like leaving my charred material in the tin where it sits and then striking sparks into it. So let's go ahead and give this a go. Now we're having some difficulties with the charred material catching a spark, and that's because about a week and a half ago I fell in a river and got everything I was wearing and carrying completely soaked to the bone. So apparently I haven't dried off this char tin well enough. I thought I had, but apparently I hadn't. So what are we going to do? We can't strike a spark into this. I can't really get a fire just by striking sparks onto the tinder bundle. Luckily we have a backup, and that is in our big fire kit, which is in the knapsack. And I know for a fact that that kit stayed bone dry because it's in a pretty water resistant package. So let's go ahead and dig into our knapsack, get out our fire kit, and get this fire going with our special ingredient. Well, here's my fire kit. This is made out of I think the oldest piece of oilcloth I ever made, which is way back in my college days. And somehow it still survived. So I've waxed it multiple times, I've oiled it multiple times, and with it rolled up like this, apparently it's pretty waterproof. So let's get in here. We've got a lot of stuff in here, and we'll go over this kit sometime. Got candles. Here we go. Let's go ahead and put this stuff back in. You didn't see anything. We're going to go over this fire kit another time, but today this is what we want. This is what we want right here. What we have here is called rub cloth. This is linen fabric that has been wetted and impregnated with black powder. This is actually an old batch of homemade black powder I made years and years ago. And this stuff actually works pretty stinking well. So if this doesn't light off this tinder bundle, I don't know what will. So let's go ahead and take a piece of this and I'll show you exactly how this all works. We're going to grab ourselves a nice big piece of this rub cloth and take our tinder bundle and place it right in the center here. Kind of surround it, make it feel all nice at home. That way when this goes off, boom, it's going to have a little bit of an explosion because there's black powder in it. And then it should start smoldering, and then it'll catch the rest of this tinder bundle on fire. So let's go ahead and give this a shot. Oh, remember to keep your face away from this because it does go boom, and a big puff of smoke comes out from it. There we go. Just like magic. Then we take it and treat it just like a normal piece of char cloth. There we go. Just like magic. Easy peasy fire. Let that go, let that catch, and then we can put it down. There we go. All right, those sticks should start catching. All right, let's go ahead and start adding some, still small, but some bigger pieces. We've got a lot of these little rinky-dink pieces out here. We can toss on here, keep this fire going. The good thing is that a lot of those little sticks have already burned down to coals. We've got a nice coal bed developing. So coal bed means heat, stored heat, good long-lasting heat. Now, of course, these coals won't last very long, but they should last just long enough to help us maintain this fire. And remember, heat rises, so you want to try and put all this, stack this wood right on top. Make sure there's a lot of air in between the wood so oxygen can get to it, and the heat will rise, and the fire will rise with it. Now it's time to go ahead and grab out some of these larger fuel pieces. Start putting these on. And as you can see, this is starting to look like your traditional pyramid fire. This is only one of the types of fires that you can build. Log cabin fires work really well too. And there you have it, the makings of a very fine campfire. Now this fire will probably burn for, maybe another 15 or 20 minutes. Sticks this size burn really, really quickly. But if you wanted to burn longer or larger, you just go ahead and add some more material, start adding bigger material, and if you have logs handy, split logs, and that's gonna keep it going for hours and hours. So this is where we're gonna stop for today with this fire, but I hope this has been informative and instructive. I highly encourage you to try more primitive methods of fire starting. Learning how to start a fire with flint and steel is very rewarding, it's very fun, and with flint and steel, there's less margin of error, so it'll help you with your modern fire making skills as well, whether you're using a lighter, a ferro rod, matches. Everyone, thank you so much for coming along with us today as we build this fire here at the new Long Hunter Bungalow. I hope that you will like and comment on this video, subscribe to Flintlock Operator if you haven't already, and follow us on Instagram. And just a reminder, we have a lot more content coming very soon. It's going to be far more consistent. Right now I'm on one of my big filming trips, so we're going to have a lot of content coming your way very soon. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. Be safe out there, keep your powder dry, happy muzzle loading, and we'll see you on down the trail in the next video. Everyone, have a great day.